since we are already a big organizations, hindi na maiwasan yung mga conflicts and disputes within the PCP. So what we need is, again, a strong communication and transparency. And we already have in place the ethics committee that we have. So they will be also of help and managing the conflicts and disputes. Siguro mas maganda, we are going to hear both sides. So if we have conflicts, so we need to hear the both sides, as well as having a fair judgment on the different conflicts that we will be going to have.
This is the very good thing with the Philippine College of Physicians. We actually have a very strict code of ethics wherein we have a process flow already for this. If there are any complaints or any issues, we can resolve it by putting or giving it to the proper channel. It's very important if there are conflicts that these are given or being put into the proper channel. For our Committee on Ethics, if there are complaints, can actually have that complaint goes to the Committee on Ethics, and if there are really issues that needs to be solved, at least they can be our guide. So basically, for conflict of disputes, if the component or chapters can actually deal with it, then it will start there. But if not, all the complaints can actually go through the national, wherein these are presented to the Committee on Ethics, and we need to have a validated complaint, duly authorized and signed for the process to go through, because it's very important that even if there are conflicts, if they are not being brought to the proper channel, they cannot be acted on. And the good thing with the Philippine College of Physicians, we already have a very good flow on the resolution of conflicts under the Committee of Ethics.
Okay, through my years here in the PCP and also in my work at the PGH, I've realized that many of the conflicts are mostly happen because of some kind of poor communication. Parang siguro of all the problems I've seen, maybe up to 70 to 80% are because of poor communication. So that's one of the things that probably needs to be looked at and addressed. Okay, so and in all other conflicts, it's important to, conflicts between members, maybe between our organization and other organizations, or between our profession and other professions. This would require, in addition to, fixing or improving communication lines, is getting them to meet, listen to each of the parties concerned, follow what's in the board resolutions or in the constitution, and how to deal with these conflicts or disputes. And then due process should be followed, and then it should be like a no fuss process, and justice and fairness should always be observed. So I think following those rules on communications, listening, having a no fuss process, and following them diligently will be the way to go to manage conflicts and disputes within and around PCP.
Managing conflicts and disputes in PCP requires an ethical leadership, I think. There must be open communication and a structured resolution. As a leader, we have to promote a culture of ethical leadership by setting a strong example of transparency, fairness, and integrity in all our decisions, like requiring conflict of interest disclosure from PCP members and committee members, and to ensure all PCP members to adhere to the PCP Code of Ethics that promotes professionalism and accountability. We would also like to have a clear conflict resolution mechanism by having a PCP discipline committee where both sides must be heard, and we can invite even a third-party person to mediate, so to avoid bias, and at the same time encourage all PCP members or the PCP to review our PCP code of conduct. But most especially, I think we should practice a profession of respect to each other so that we can prevent conflict to arise.
Okay, napakahirap pong i-manage yung conflicts or disputes, no, because of varying interests between members, no. Para ho itong isang pamilya, yung nakikita ko dito. Siyempre, hindi po lahat ay maaring masatisfy sa ating mga decision. But we have to work for the common good. So, in terms of managing conflicts or disputes within the PCP, then maybe ho kailangan natin magtayo ng isang committee para ho parang grievance committee, no. Kasi sa kasalukuyan po ang meron lamang tayo ay ethics committee, but not all things naman po are ethical in nature, no. Especially when one member complains against somebody else, no. Kung wala ho tayong makikitang ethical issues, then maybe we should have a separate committee for that, like a grievance committee, para ho maging fair yung judgment. Kasi syempre kahit po sabihin nating board kami, kailangan naman po yung board members, we have to protect also the interest of those who are complaining. So I think it's time that we have a separate grievance committee for all the conflicts or disputes that are happening within PCP.
Before we start giving initiatives to our members, we should know first what PCP expects from our members. So I would like to empower the local chapters to involve them and tell them that what are their expectations from PCP, and we will get their response and make us aware what their expectations are, and the local chapters will inform us during quarterly meetings and inform us if we have delivered what their expectations are. With this, our PCP members will be involved, and they know that we are aware and we are concerned about our PCP members.
Cannot be avoided. There can be many because we are a big organization already. We are, I think, more than 13,000 members. We have many chapters, many training institutions, and I mentioned before that good communication and effective communication, I think, is key towards addressing these conflicts or disputes. We need to maintain an open line of communication, frequent dialogues, hearing the both sides of the story, because for PCP, we need to be fair for all. We need to listen to them. If it can be addressed within the local chapter or within the local organization, within the training institution, then that would be the best approach to that. But if after everything that has been done and said, and it cannot be, there's no solution or no conclusion that can be arrived at, then perhaps it's the time that the national organization can step in and mediate and listen again to all the sides of the story, and then arrive at a fair conclusion or solution to the possible dispute or conflict.
So we need to foster a culture of respect and compassion. So we need to have an open dialogue with respect, and then also we need to form a committee wherein to look at the conflicts and disputes within the PCP.
I believe that active mediation and open dialogue. Basically, we need to establish a structured conflict resolution mechanism, ensuring that all members are heard and that decisions are made fairly and ethically. We know that in every organization, conflicts are inevitable, but ethical leadership ensures that they are resolved constructively. In my role, in administration, we usually promote open communication channels where concerns are raised and can be raised without fear of bias. Additionally, we need to establish a formalized conflict resolution framework with mediation processes to ensure fair and impartial outcomes. Most importantly, I think I will lead by example. I am a true believer that I am a true believer that you have to lead by example, upholding transparency, fairness, and respect in all interactions within PCP. Second, we need to uphold ethical standards. So we know that we have a strict code of conduct. It should be reinforced to prevent personal interests and conflict of interests from overshadowing PCP's mission. And we need to promote unity over division. How do we do this? We need to have to foster a culture of respect and professionalism. We can agree to disagree, but we have to be professional in everything that we do to ensure that conflicts lead to constructive solutions rather than division.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, not all the rules we have may address all the potential conflict that will arise along the way. Conflict is always a challenge. It has an impact on our morale, on our membership on our membership. But we have to address it heads on. We should not try to put it under the rug, but address it. We have to listen to all the parties, being conscious also of the existing rules we have, and try to be more personal rather than too legalist. It's easy to say this is the legal or the necessary thing because it's in the PCP, but you see, humans are more complex than the problem. In fact, most of the problem I encounter is mostly because of human interests and human wants and needs, which may conflict with the existing rules. But listening to all the parties and trying to apply what's the rule. At the same time, let's not forget about the ethical moral aspect of it.
Conflicts and disputes are inevitable in any organization. But if handled properly, this can lead to growth of the organization and leadership and members also, between members. Number one, just like what I've told you about transparency, there should be clear processes. The processes is clear again, just, systematic, impartial, so that all guided by our bylaws and ethics, so that all the decisions that we make should be transparent again and just. Number two, again, communication is clear. We have to have an open communication between two parties so that it should be there should be in an honest and positive environment, so that the different parties will feel that they are heard and valued, because we all know that any disputes and conflicts stem from misunderstanding and miscommunication. I think that those two are the one I want to pursue or push.
Admittedly, in a very large organization like the Philippine College of Physicians, we cannot avoid conflicts. We cannot avoid disputes. But then, I think the most important thing that we must have as a big organization is open communication. We must also hold each of our members accountable for their actions, and this will be in a spirit of collegiality. It must be discussed in a spirit where we really want to encourage our members to be open, to be transparent, and for us in the PCP leadership, we must show understanding of perhaps even the motives of why our members do such things or say such things. And therefore, for us in the leadership, it's important that whenever we see conflicts, first of all, we approach the person. We do not broadcast whatever was done without proper investigation. We do not give our judgments without even talking to the person involved, because I think the best way for us to be able to get the real story is to really talk to the member involved. And I believe that if we do that, if we're open to communicating with them, we will be able to manage the conflicts and disputes. And again, bring it back to the concept that we are all part of one college and we deal with each other in a collegial manner.
Just like what we have encountered several years back, we try to look both of the sides of the conflict and try to weigh and not being biased to one person. Remember that always put at the background the interest of the society, and just like what they are telling always, that always become the bigger person.
So management of personal conflicts within PCP has been very especially with all of the one of my visions for PCP, and if I just may share this to you, I was thinking of a PCP that is fair, honest, and respectful to all the members, stakeholders, including the patients and pharmaceutical and industry partners. And just take note that last year there has been a long discussion about this during our business meeting. I want a PCP that is fair and honest to government institutions as we accomplish and comply with our field health requirements and other BIR, for example, the media and other professionals. Now, it's very important for us to establish the facts first. So we want to look and investigate at the facts of the case, trying to consider both sides of the coin before any making such decision. It's very important to keep an open mind and set aside our personal biases and our inclinations, and make sure that we are very objective on how we manage this. So perhaps it's very important to start out with small pocket meetings, trying to hear out the side of each group, and at the end of it, trying to come up with a compromise on how to manage this. After all, life is about compromises. And as long as there is a friendly environment, a non-hostile environment, I am sure that everything will be, we will come up with a compromise to settle both sides.
For management, for membership disputes, there should be an ethical board for that. So there should be a committee of ethics, so that if there are problems or disputes within the PCP, this can be addressed by the ethical board, wherein both members or both parties involved can present the reasons of the dispute, and also the answers for the ones who gave the problems to those who complained. So the ethical board should be the one who will take care of these disputes, so that it will be fair on both parties.
Actually, ethical leadership and effective conflict resolution are vital for maintaining a harmonious and productive environment within the college. An ethical leader involves guiding others in a manner that is consistent with ethical principles and values, which include integrity, fairness, transparency, and accountability. Conflicts can arise from differences in opinions, values, interests, or interpersonal dynamics. Recognizing the source of conflict is the first step in resolution. And to avoid conflicts, we have to promote collaborative environment. encourage teamwork, and fostering relationship among members. This can reduce the likelihood of conflicts and build a supportive community. And for conflict resolutions, these are my strategies. There should be open communication and encourage open dialogues to help clarify misunderstanding. There should be mediation utilizing neutral third parties to facilitate discussion and that can help resolve conflicts amicably. And of course, negotiation, engaging in a collaborative problem solving that can help find mutually acceptable solutions. Establishing support structures such as counseling or peer support group can help members deal with conflict in a healthy manner.
When you talk of conflicts or dispute, it's more of understanding where they are coming from. I am not the type of person who really are confrontational. I usually go and ask, what's the background of that question? What's the background of that issue? And then study, of course, the two sides of their story. And from there, I am a believer that there's always a compromise that we can do, especially now that we are all adults. And I really don't see, and I've been in all these organizations, I haven't gone through wherein there's really something, a conflict that cannot be resolved by a good conversation and a good study of, where they are all coming from. Each doctor always would have a very good opinion, and that opinion is always backed up by something, and that I respect.
We know very well that disputes are really inevitable in any dynamic organization, but I believe we can turn them into opportunities for growth. As a mother myself, I always exercise maximum tolerance among my children and my faculty. So a very understanding leadership that ensures they lead to resolution, deep understanding and not division. So my approach will be number one will be active listening and mediation. This has been established already at PCP because Conflict Resolution Committee facilitates fair and transparent mediation. There may be some that need for improvement. I am sure PCP has been adept on this already. Secondly, ethics-driven decision-making. Strengthening the PCP Code of Conduct, ensuring decisions are made with integrity, not personal or political interests. And lastly, promoting unity and inclusivity, encouraging open dialogue between different generations of physicians, between the baby boomers, the millennials, and the Gen Zs, ensuring that all voices, whether young trainees or senior consultants, are heard. I am sure we can learn a lot from understanding each other.
For me, disputes are okay. A man without enemies is no man at all. We must welcome conflicts in the PCP because it means that the college is dynamic and alive and people care. But personally, for me, the tone, the manner, and the delivery of how you argue matters the most. You can still send your messages across without being disrespectful. As long as it is towards the PCP values and alongside the PCP mission and vision, then that is worth the resistance, Doc. A closed-door meeting with the superior team should be done. Legal and ethics committee should be in attendance. And let's be all objective about it, Doc. A board vote and a vote among the committee of past presidents in a majority decision should be done. And Doc, for me, always go back to the PCP Manual of Governance and the Code of Conduct for guidance.
I think it is also very important to have a transparent mediation process to establish a fair, structured system for resolving conflicts through dialogue and arbitration. Also, to strengthen the Ethics and Grievance Committee, to strengthen this independent body to handle disputes impartially and uphold professional integrity, and that the PCP leadership should have a proactive communication. So this will foster open discussion, regular consultation, and conflict prevention strategies to maintain unity in the college.